breaking news as we come on the air tonight for this special West Coast edition. Hurricane Harvey slightly downgraded, but still extremely hazardous. Now a Category 3 storm with winds of 115 miles an hour, barreling through Texas, collapsing buildings, plunging hundreds of thousands into darkness. The damage still unfolding tonight. We begin with Matt Gutman, though, who's been out in the punishing conditions throughout the night in Corpus Christi, just 30 miles from where the hurricane came ashore. Matt, what's happening out there?
Hey, Juju, this storm hasn't let up. What it has done is change direction. The wind now coming from behind me, bearing ever more rain. The major concern right now is getting to the people who need help. But power outages are rampant throughout this part of Texas. 120,000 people in and around Corpus Christi without power right now, and there's all sorts of debris in the roadway. Just a few minutes ago, we've seen panel after panel of plexiglass essentially explode off the building, scattering all over the street here. You don't see it, but I'm actually standing on part of it that blew off the building. These are the kinds of hazards that rescuers are facing, and it's why they're struggling so mightily to get out, to get people the help that they need. Even damage assessments at this point are nearly impossible with this deluge coming down, the streets blackened, and all of this debris out on the roadways. Now, it's going to be some time before rescuers are able to get to everybody who needs it. They're talking about hurricane force winds in and around Rockport. That's the town that really got battered by the eye of the storm for another 12 hours. They're going to see hurricane force winds until 8 p.m. tomorrow. This is a very serious situation. We don't know how bad it is. We are right here in Corpus Christi, but this whole area along the coast has just been battered. Now, we went to Rockport earlier. We saw it was basically a ghost town. There was a mandatory evacuation. The mayor telling people, if you stay, you better write your name and your social security number with a Sharpie on your arm because you might die. And that is apparently the situation there. It is very, very concerning. And farther up the coast, we're seeing the same types of things. What is going to be happening now over the next couple of hours and days is reinforcements are going to be coming in as much as they can, but so many of these areas are low-lying. The roads just to get in there are going to be inundated. We're talking about this 12-foot storm surge, so just getting to these people and getting them help is going to be very difficult, very trying in the coming hours and days. Juju.
Thanks, Matt. We want you to stay safe, but we're going to head over now to Port Lavaca, Texas, where they're reporting a 6-foot storm surge, and that could increase. The community is under also a mandatory evacuation order, and it's where ABC's senior meteorologist Rob Marciano has been reporting throughout the night. Rob.
Juju, we have retreated indoors. It's just too dangerous at this moment to be outside. At times you can hear things clanking across our hotel. Parts of the hotel have been sheared off, namely some downspouts. Parts of the outer walls have been torn off as well. Railings have been pushed down, and there's some street lights out there that are wobbling around. I would suspect that some of those have been torn down as well. We've been without power now for about 3 hours. This thing is hitting with all its ferocity in the dark, which makes it even scarier. It made landfall as the strongest or the lowest pressured landfall since Hurricane Rita in 2005. I was in that storm. It hit in the middle of the night, and this one is just as scary here in Port Lavaca. We are at a high point in this hotel. It's a pretty new hotel, which is pretty surprising to see it basically coming apart. But the water is surrounding us. The storm surge now has made us an island, and you can hear the wind cranking up even more. It is just nasty, nasty to be outside. It's going to be a long night, I'm sure, here in Port Lavaca. Juju, back up to you.
Definitely a long night for you, Rob. Thanks for that. And in the studio with us is meteorologist Kate Parker, who's been tracking this storm. Kate, I know that you're obsessed with all things hurricane, but you're also a Texas person.
A Texan, born and raised.
This is personal for you.
It is. It's surreal to see this image because when we say a Category 4 storm made landfall, it's easy to say, well, it's down to a Category 3. It's still a Category 3 hurricane, and it's inland now. This is not a storm that's measured in these hours tonight. It is going to be measured over the course of a week.
and days of this kind of deluge. What kind of flooding can we anticipate?
A lot of flooding, but this is brand new from the Storm Prediction Center. We have a tornado watch, and this one goes all the way through tomorrow afternoon. This is not something quick. This storm is not moving anywhere anytime fast. You can see by the track here, when you have a tropical system, you have a lot of spin in the atmosphere. Tornadoes can spin up, not just all this rainfall. Now, there's also storm surge to speak of. We've already seen 6 feet, like you mentioned, but the forecast was for double for that. So we still could see that go up. We're going to still see that relentless push of water as over 2 feet of rain is possible in a number of spots. This is mind-boggling.
The statistics are so scary, but the wind factor is so high, and yet at the end of the day, it's the flooding that concerns you. That's what's deadly.
9 out of 10 deaths in hurricanes come from water. Whether it's rainfall flooding or whether it's storm surge, the deaths come from water. Wind dangerous as well. I don't want to discount that, but the water is what you need to watch, not just today, not just tomorrow, into next week.
And it's not just our imagination. This storm popped up quickly.
48 hours from a tropical depression to a Category 4 hurricane. That is how primed and ready the Gulf of Mexico was. It was waiting for a storm like this, and we got it.
Pops up quickly, but it's going to linger for a number of days, so we'll keep an eye on it. And thanks for being here with us, Kate. You know, one of the hardest hit areas along the coast tonight is Rockport, Texas. And earlier I spoke with the city's fire chief, Steve Sims, and asked him what kind of damage he's seeing out there.
A lot of fairly severe. We haven't been able to get out and really look at things much other than what's right around close to our station. The eye wall just passed over us, and our wind has picked back up again, so we're hunkered down in our main station.
And there are reports that there are several buildings, including a high school, that have partially collapsed. There's reports that there are seniors trapped in a senior center there. Will you attempt rescue operations in the middle of the night?
Not with the wind like it is right now. We have nothing that, to get on the highway with. Our hands are tied, and, it's killing all of us.
I'm sure as first responders, that must be the hardest thing, to have to sit and wait.
Very much.
130-mile-an-hour winds. What does that sound like in the fire department when you went over you?
The best way I can describe it is a tin can being kicked down the road.
That loud? That loud,
and get your nerves on the end.
Sure. You're part of the fabric of this community. What fears do you have for your town tonight?
I fear we're gonna really see some severe damage. Like I say, we haven't been able to get out and see what we got going, but it's not looking good.
The entire country has our eyes on you tonight, and our thoughts and prayers go out to you tonight. Steve, thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much.
You know, also caught up in the storm in Taft, Texas, just north of Corpus Christi, is Mary Lou Galindo. I spoke with her when she had just lost power in her house. Mary Lou, I understand a tree just fell on your house?
Yes, ma'am. It broke our roof. It's like the branch of a tree. I'm trying to. Can you see?
And it came through the window?
No, through the roof.
I mean, it came through the roof. It came into your bedroom?
Yes. Can you see it?
I can. It must be harrowing for your family. I know that you're right in the belly of the storm, in the mandatory evacuation zone. What made you decide to stay?
Well, my husband is a cancer patient who is battling prostate cancer as we speak. You know, he's also in a wheelchair, has a prosthesis, and it's very hard and very difficult for him to get around.
And I know you've already shared some earlier video with us with some pretty serious storm damage coming in around your neighborhood. What else are you seeing now?
We can't see anything because it is completely dark, and we're boarded up, and we closed the doors, so we hear a lot of noises on the outside, but we cannot see anything.
They're talking about 130-mile-an-hour winds. How does that sound? What does that feel like for you inside that house?
Well, we can hear the roarings, and every now and then we can feel a little shake.
And have you had second thoughts about your decision to stay? I guess you had no choice.
Oh, yes, absolutely. My husband has said we should have left. We should have left. But we didn't leave, so now we got to make the best of it.
Okay, preserve your battery power there, Mary Lou. We're going to let you go. We're going to wish you the very best. Keep in touch and be well tonight. Batten down the hatches.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, joining us now is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, in Austin. Governor, thanks for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Let's start with the damage assessments that you're getting at this hour. What are you hearing?
Well, as you can see, as the storm rolls in, it's pretty dramatic. We don't have exact numbers right now because the devastation is happening fairly quickly.
I know you asked President Trump to declare a major disaster. What's the worst case scenario that you're looking at?
Well, the president granted that declaration, and what that means is that FEMA has now been triggered to assist Texans and our cities and counties to begin the rebuilding process. And that will be of tremendous help.
And yet a FEMA administrator said today that the window for evacuation has pretty much closed. What advice are you giving to residents who have decided to shelter in place?
They need to have strategies to make sure that they stay as safe as possible. They need to be constantly vigilant about rising water. They need to be prepared to be without power and maybe have inadequate access to food and supplies for a couple of days.
And you tweeted out a photo earlier from the Emergency Operations Center. What plans do you have laid out for those 4 days of flooding that you see coming?
In that operations center, we have 30 agencies of the state of Texas represented to make sure that we cover everything from water rescues to keeping roads open to making sure we have adequate health care and supplies going to the people. So we have intricate plans in every potential avenue of the state of Texas.
There was a grim message from the mayor of Rockport, Texas, who was quoted as saying that if you're going to stay in your home, you better take a Sharpie and write your name and social security number on your arm. Is it that grim? Because then we have the mayor of Houston saying, well, perhaps you should not evacuate. I know you've called for people to consider it. Do you want to clarify those mixed signals?
Well, sure. Rockport got hit very hard tonight, and the people there are facing a tough situation. But the way that it works is that it's up to the local officials, whether they be the county judges in Texas or the mayors, to make the declaration. Obviously, the mayor of Rockport made his declaration. Houston is not getting hit with the eye of the storm like Rockport is, and the damage there will be different. And at the appropriate time, if it is necessary, the county judge or the mayor will make the necessary declarations.
Well, good luck to you tonight and in the days ahead, Governor. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we have much more ahead. When we come back, we go to Washington, D.C. for the president's response to this emergency situation and to San Antonio to an evacuation center. Stay with us.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.